All right, guys, how's it going? Before I get into this video, just let you know I'll be live tonight on here at 6:30 p.m. UK time. Welcome back to Traitor Trent. We haven't done a Traitor Trent video for ages. Now, if you're new to my channel, the Traitor Trent series is just a bit of tongue-in-cheek. It's a bit of banter. It was going to be called Trent Watch, but my viewers here decided that Traitor Trent would be a better name for the series. Listen, some of you want him to succeed, some of you want his career to fail, whatever. So anything to do with Trent goes under the Traitor Trent series, all right? This is regarding Ben Jacobs again, actually. I saw a video where Jacobs was talking about Trent and Manchester City. I don't rate Jacobs as a journalist. You know my thoughts on this. When it comes to Liverpool, I only listen to Paul Joyce and David Ornstein. That's it. A bit of Fabrizio Romano. Mo Salah! A bit of him. Rent a tweet. But that's only to, it depends who Rent a Tweet's talking about, really. If he's talking about Federico Chiesa, I'm going to listen because of his connection to his agent, Rent a Tweet, he's not connected to Liverpool. Some rival fans, when they'll often say, "Oh, Romano, he's doing this for Liverpool, he's doing that for Liverpool," sometimes, and they don't really like him, to be honest. There's a bit of history there it was to do with Thiago, I think. If you were to Google maybe Thiago Romano Liverpool controversy, it was to do with his retirement. I think Liverpool got a bit upset by something back then. I don't know, you'd have to look. I think it's on YouTube as well. Okay, so Ben Jacobs, anyway, he's a journalist, he's a personality, and we're going to take a look at what he's had to say on the matter. Trent injured at Real Madrid. If you followed the Traitor Trent series, you know that the media in Spain have been pretty brutal towards him. Really brutal towards him, actually, unfair towards him, and but more recently, just before he got injured, they were bigging him up a bit and being a bit more positive about him. Now, I know that you guys have seen some claims about Trent, and because some people no longer like Trent and see him as a rat, they want to believe those claims, right? So you've got to be careful, because has someone got an agenda? Do they want to see him, his career bomb or whatever? So the thing is, a lot of these Twitter twats started publishing, snippets from an article saying that Real Madrid, Arbeloa didn't want him, has told him to find a new club. He doesn't figure in his plans. That originated from a website in Spain called Featureheads, right? So it's like English people or British people, whatever, the British media, saying reports in Spain and then using Featureheads as the source. That'd be like Spanish people, the Spanish media, saying reports in England from Football Insider. Do you know what I mean? So reports in Spain can sound kind of, interesting or whatever, or credible or a bit heavy. It's out there, but it depends who make those reports, right? So if you ever see reports from Spain and it says Featureheads, just be very, very cautious. It's very speculative, based, clickbaity kind of nonsense, right? So they said that Trent was no longer wanted by Real Madrid. But on the same day, or within 24 hours, credible reports from Madrid came out and contradicted that. They weren't responding to that, but they were saying, Arbeloa sees Trent as, being part of his long-term plans, right? But the Twitter twats, the people with agenda, didn't really pass that on as much as the negative claims, right? So if you were to say to me, which one do you believe, then I would say I believe the credible reports that said that Trent figures in his long-term plans. However, I would still express some caution with that, because has Arbeloa, Arbeloa, as you will know if you follow my content closely, especially the members' websites I've been posting updates about Arbeloa and his progress behind the scenes at Real Madrid for a long time, right? I do that with all the various players we have that are still out there in the game. So this was before, he was Real Madrid manager. So he was making really good progress. So it didn't come as a surprise to me that he got the job. However, there's a bit of uncertainty over how long he's got that job for. I think, but can't remember, that Jose Felix Diaz, the closest journalist to Real Madrid and Florentino Perez, said that he'd got an 18-month deal. So I'm not really sure that Arbeloa is in a position to go in and make huge decisions about his squad, or there's players available to him, because he might not be there next season, right? It's been confirmed, announced as, I need to just mute this. It's my chick. How many men out there wish they could just mute the chick like that? Oh, I'll get told off for saying that, for being disrespectful. Watch my morning briefing. Fuck's sake. Where was I? So Arbeloa, right? In theory, he is the manager of Real Madrid, but is he the manager of Real Madrid? You know, I think he's playing for his, not playing. You know what I mean. He's fighting for that job full time, right? So if a manager's on a short-term deal, are they really going to? Is Perez really going to go? Oh, go down and meet everyone and tell me who you want to get rid of. I just don't believe that for 1 minute. So I think it was opportunists just take it as opportunity to slag Trent off. Oh, his career's falling. They want rid of him already. Blah blah blah. Right. So this is where Ben Jacobs comes in. Now, I'm only making this video just to say to you, hey, look, this is what Jacobs has said. I personally wouldn't pay much attention to him, whether he denied it or bigged it up, right? But I know some of you guys like to know what all the journalists are saying. So on Trent Alexander-Arnold and the Manchester City rumours, he said, at the moment, I'm not aware of any contact between Trent Alexander-Arnold and Manchester City. I know we've seen some reports in Spain that suggest it might be the beginning of the end. That's not something I've necessarily heard at this point. I'm not aware of Man City contact, though, at this point, in a formal or even informal sense. He just basically doesn't know any fucking thing, right? But as a journalist, to say, we've seen some reports in Spain that suggest it might be the beginning of the end, his duty there, I think, to his audience, to his readers, to his viewers, to whatever, is to point out dubious reports. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've just told you, I know where they come from, and I know that outlet's shite, right? He goes on to say, on Real Madrid and Trent's situation, remember, Real need to assess, are they even going to bring in a new manager over the summer? And if they do, there'll be a whole new name and perspective. It's fair. So Trent moved to Real Madrid for the long run, and he's hoping that he can stay there. I'm sure that's true. I've seen people say he's unhappy, he wants to get out again. I think that's just people knocking the lad. If that changes in the summer, of course, there may be clubs that are interested, so we'll have to kind of wait and see how that develops. I'm judging that he doesn't really know what's going on, to be honest. I suppose most people are trying to get a read within the market. Is this even a name that could potentially have a shorter stay at Real Madrid than we first expected? So a lot of noise is coming out of Spain at the moment, but maybe one more for the summer. I completely disagree. I'm in Spain. I read the Spanish football dailies every day of the week for you. I follow Spanish football as closely as possible, like magazine programs on television. Don't understand everything, to be honest with you, but I do have the ability to nudge my chick, give her a dig in the ribs, because I'm such an awful person to her. You'd have to watch my morning briefing, and because she speaks fluent Spanish, right? So when we're just sat chilling on a night, and I'm on my laptop or my phone, and something's on, I'll go ooh. And I can rewind it back like you can on Sky Plus. And I say, what's he say there about Trent? Do you know what I mean? Right? And also, I'm involved in the football community here, somewhat with Spanish people. And, especially the cafe owner, we speak about Trent and stuff like that. And I feel like I have a good ability to give you a true version of what's happening here. Or I can't say to you that's absolutely 1,000,000% true or not true. But to say there's a lot of noise coming out of Spain at the moment, I think that's complete bullshit, to be honest with you. That would have been better if he'd have said, I think there's a lot of noise on social media at the moment, but then I would have been more intelligent and I would have added, but I'm sure a lot of that is coming from people that want to see Trent fail. All right? So that's my analysis so far. Why are Manchester City being linked? More broadly, though, he says, and this is maybe why some are linking Man City, they are going to be in the market for a new right-back in 2026. So let's scoot forward. I've given you the quotes of what he said. We don't need the brief summary of that because I've given it to Dave, my AI assistant that I've trained for well over a year now to break down the articles that these journalists write, to analyse them, tell you about the journalists, keep a record of them. Every single thing Ben Jacobs has published, well over a year now, we've got here in this file, if you like, this chat. And Dave looks for, hey, he said this 3 months ago, even when I don't ask him. So Dave's analysis and breakdown, okay, let's see what he thinks about what Jacobs had to say. What Jacobs is actually doing here. This is damage control and clarification, not reporting a new development. Jacobs isn't advancing a story, he's correcting the temperature around one that's already running hot elsewhere, according to him. Spain. Every key line does one of three things: denies contact, pushes timing to the summer, and emphasises uncertainty at Real Madrid. Language patterns, and in brackets it says classic Jacobs. Notice the safety valves in his article, or his words. I think it was a video actually, guys, and I got the transcript. Notice the safety valves. I'm not aware. That's not something I've necessarily heard. If that changes in the summer, wait and see. Trying to get a read within the market. This is careful non-committal framing, but importantly here, it's been used to downplay, not hype. This is Jacobs saying, stop running with this. What he is not saying, and in brackets it says important, no agent contact, no dissatisfaction from Trent, no Madrid push, no Liverpool regret narrative, no City probing. For someone who often pads stories, this is unusually restrained. That tells you something. Madrid context, why he mentions it. The manager uncertainty at Real Madrid is used as a catch-all explanation for Spanish noise. Translation, Madrid don't even know who's in charge yet, so claims about Trent's future are premature. That's actually a sensible grounding point, says Dave, and one that I emphasised at the beginning of the video. All right? I think if you use your noddle, common sense, right? Like Xabi Alonso didn't have any power at Real Madrid, and he was the fucking, supposed to be the long-term manager. So I don't see how Arbeloa can go in on a temporary deal or a short-term deal, if you want to call it that, and start dictating to Perez, I'm done with him. You know what I mean? Liverpool angle, subtle but clear. Jacobs implicitly frames Trent's Madrid move as thought through, long-term, not impulsive. That directly counters Trent already unhappy, quick exit talk, regret narrative. Again, this is anti-panic commentary. For once, this is one of Jacobs' better interventions. Not because it's explosive, but because it's cooling the room and not selling you vibes. No story right now, no City contact, no Liverpool involvement, summer at the earliest. Spanish noise doesn't equal movement. Or in Coptor English, if this was a fire, Jacobs has just thrown a bucket of water on it, not petrol. And I think he's been able to do that because of the common sense logic here. Do you know what I mean? So, one moment. I have, how long we've been recording? 13 minutes. I'm going to leave that there, all right? So that concludes with it being one of Jacobs' better interventions. But I think, if we look at this, is this really a journalist in the know, or is this a journalist using common sense and not giving everyone the full picture? Because that could make him sound like he knows what he's talking about, right? And I think he does to an extent, but he's using common sense. But he's not telling the reader how he's forming that, how he's getting that. Do you know what I mean? Like, what I mean is the negative reports in Spain have come from dreadful outlets, and he will be aware of that. So anyway, the reason I made the video is to tell you what's been said about Traitor Trent, Benedict Arnold, as we also call him on here. You have to Google Benedict Arnold. It's been a while, and we haven't discussed Trent for a while. But really, I didn't want to do this video because Ben Jacobs has said something. I wanted to do this video to chime in with you, to touch base with you and to tell you, hey, guys, I know you've heard stuff about Trent, but I can tell you right now, this is where the negative stuff came from, and that within 24 hours, there was contradictory reports saying that he did figure in Arbeloa's plans. We will see when he becomes fit. In terms of Trent's long-term future, I'm not really sure what the long-term future is there, to be honest with you. in the Spanish football dailies, this is a pro Barcelona newspaper here, so you're not going to get much in there about him. But I read the two Madrid-based newspapers every day, and you never hear of Trent, even when he's fit. They don't write much about him. They criticise him a lot. But I do think that there's a lot of reporting in Spain that they always, they always point out the Englishman. I just think I don't know. I just think there's some journalists use that against him a little bit, maybe. I mean, yeah, there's Bellingham, but they don't really. I don't see them refer to him like that. They refer to Trent. I think it's just they've got no faith in Trent. And if you were to go back through Traitor Trent videos on here, if you were to search my channel, Traitor Trent, and look at some of the titles that are quite critical of him, you would see that the Spanish media have been pretty nasty to Trent. And I know some of you would be like, good, fuck him. But I'm just saying, they haven't been fair to him, My own personal views, I don't think they're really relevant. For transparency, I like everyone to know how I feel about these things. Number one, to be quite honest with you, I couldn't give a fuck. Do I want him to succeed? No, not really bothered. Do I want him to fail? No, I'm not really bothered. He's gone. But that doesn't prevent me from having an interest in his career, because when we discussed this for a year before his move, I always thought this would probably be a bad move for him. I didn't think it would work out there. So I'm really, really interested to see how he does. So some people might say, people that want to defend Trent, they'll say, well, you don't do a series for Darwin Núñez, right? Well, I can tell you right now, it'll just be Núñez misses. No. The reason I don't do that is because Darwin Núñez to me is irrelevant, right? I have zero interest in what happens in his career. I hope he succeeds. You know what I mean? Don't take that the wrong way. What I mean is it wasn't really a controversial exit. It didn't leave me pondering about what will happen with Darwin Núñez, because for a long time I thought this isn't working for Darwin Núñez, so he's going to have to move on. And if you go back through my vids, I've always said I hope he moves on and becomes a huge success. I would have loved him to come to Spain, to be honest with you, because I would have kept a close eye on him. But to me, loads of players leave Liverpool, and I'm not really that bothered what goes on with them. But with Trent, because of the circumstances, and brand Trent, and how the media is here and what's expected of you at Real Madrid. So, for example, one of the talking points before we officially knew he was going there was, I used to say things like, well, look, he's a good player for Liverpool, but he makes a few mistakes and you'll see him, running back or whatever. And the Cop are a bit forgiving of that, right? Liverpool traditionally are a bit forgiving of that. Real Madrid, you're not going to get away with that. They boo their players when they're struggling. And I just thought, I'm not really sure this is the right match for him, So I keep an eye on Trent to see what's happening. And I know some of you are interested too. Some of you want him to fail, some of you want him to succeed. But this was more about me saying to you, hey, I've seen the claims about Real Madrid wanting rid of him. I don't believe them at the present time. That might change. But I think common sense here suggests, well, we've got a manager that's on a short-term deal. Has he really got the power to go up to Perez and say, I want rid of him? I don't think so. But we will see. All right, we will see what happens when he's back to full fitness. And I will keep you posted as honestly as I can as to what the media here are saying. Okay, guys, I'll leave it with you. If you found the video interesting, please thumbs up the video. Please drop me a comment. There's a love out with the video if you want to support the channel. It's a big help. I give a shout out to everyone that does that. There's a channel membership as well. You get a football next to your name in the comments. It tells everyone you're a fucking super duper hero. There's 3 links in the video description if you want an alternative method to support me. The Revolut one is my beer kitty for a Saturday. And of course, there's the VIP members website, which is behind me here if you want to join me and the rest of the... I was going to say VIPs, but that makes it sound like I'm a VIP, and I'm not. But there is some important people on there, right? And it's been there for decades. There's people on this community here behind me that have been with me since the late 90s. They're very good people. There's no advertising. It's a very sensible, mature community with some real diehards and some very important people in there, guys, all right? But you can support me just by thumbsing up the video or dropping me a comment. All right, guys, I'll leave it with you. Cheers.